What is your name, please?
My name is Olga Gomez.
What is your name, please?
My name is Olga Gomez.
What is your name, please?
My name is Olga Gomez.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one of them is the real Olga Gomez, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. And here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to our little game of deliberate misrepresentation, wherein our panel endeavors to figure out which one of three challengers has sworn to tell the truth. To Tell the Truth is brought to you each week by Geritol, America's #1 tonic, the high-potency tonic that helps you feel stronger fast. And now, let's meet our cross-examiners. What is your name, please?
My name is Polly Bergen.
My name is Ralph Bellamy.
My name is Kitty Carlisle.
My name is Gardner.
Now, these three ladies all claim to be Olga Gomez. Only one, of course, is the real Olga Gomez. The other two have merely assumed that identity, and they do not have to stick to the truth. Now, panel, in front of you, there is a copy of an affidavit. Will you please follow along with your copies while I read? I, Olga Gomez, was born in Havana, Cuba, but now I live in New York City. I once worked in a lingerie shop, but now I am a dance instructor. Among my pupils have been General MacArthur's son and actor Sal Mineo. I have also danced with Fred Astaire, signed Olga Gomez. Now, panel, as I said, these three ladies all claim to be Olga Gomez, dance instructor. Only the real Olga Gomez is required to answer your questions truthfully. You will each question until you hear this signal. And then at the end of the questioning period, you'll be asked to register your vote for the one who, in your opinion, is the real Olga Gomez. And we'll begin this evening with Polly Bergen. Polly?
Number one, what is the latest Latin dance craze?
Well, merengue.
Number two, could you tell me how tall is Sal Mineo?
He's about 5'8".
Number three, could you tell me what is Tony DeMarco's wife's first name?
Sally.
Number one, when did you dance with Fred Astaire?
Well, this was about 5 years ago.
Why?
Well, there was a party being given. I know some people, you know, in show business. And there was a party being given in Long Island, and I was invited to it.
Oh, I see.
And I danced with him.
Ralph Bellamy.
Number one, will you say in Spanish, I am happy to be on the To Tell the Truth program?
Oh, estoy encantada de estar en decir la verdad.
Number two, will you please say it, the same thing?
The same
I'm
thing?
happy to be on the To Tell the Truth
Estoy
program.
encantada de estar en este programa.
Number three, will you please say it?
Estoy encantada de estar en este programa.
Number one, what
You
is...
could at least tell us which one is right.
What is the name of the fort across the bay in Havana?
I don't know.
Number two, do you remember?
Well, I left Havana when I was there.
Number three, do you know?
You mean Morro Castle?
Yes, thank you.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number two, you worked in a lingerie shop. Denier indicates what in stocking?
The weight.
And which is the, number three, which is the lighter stocking? What, does the number go up or down for denier?
I believe it goes up.
It goes up. The heavier stocking is a bigger number.
Yes.
Number one, they say that most ballet dancers are very bad ballroom dancers. When you danced with Mr. Astaire, did he step on your feet?
Not at all.
He was a good dancer.
Very good.
Number two, what is the difference between the cha-cha and the mambo?
Oh, there's a big difference. The cha-cha is one dance, and the mambo is another one.
All right, hi, Gardner.
Number three, what are the two famous outdoor nightclubs in Havana?
Tropicana and Sanssouci.
Number two, Morro Castle which you didn't remember, having left Havana when you were a little girl, is one of the sites in Havana. Now, is it still being used as an army base, a naval base, or is it just for sightseers?
I believe it's for sightseeing.
Number 3, would you answer that?
Time is gone. I'm sorry we can't wait for the answer. It's time to vote. Panel, with no further answers and no further questions and without consultation, will you mark your ballots and select number 1, number 2, or number 3? Remember, the team of challengers will get $250 for every incorrect vote. Are we all set? Polly, you are. For whom did you vote?
I voted for number 2. Because she seemed to know the least amount of answers. And I always think that a good dancer doesn't have to be a good conversationalist.
All right. Ralph, your vote?
Number 3.
Oh, she knew everything.
Well, number 3 seemed to have the most fluid Spanish, and she was the only one who knew about Morro Castle and those things that go up in stockings that Kitty asked about that I don't know.
How about it, Kitty? Your vote?
Number 2.
She answered it wrong, Ralph.
Oh, did
Well, I thought she answered it wrong, number 3. And also, number 2 Spanish, contrary to what Ralph thought, number 2 Spanish seemed to me the most authentic. Not that I really know.
And hi, Gardner, your vote, please.
I voted for number 3. Number 1, I don't think we got any answers out of because we didn't ask any questions. Number 2 made me wonder when she didn't know about Morro Castle because I think that they're brought up on Morro Castle in Havana. And number 3 did know the answer, and furthermore, Morro Castle is a naval base. So I gave it to number 3.
Good sound reasoning. You have, therefore, our votes and our reasons. Now we're going to find out which one of these lovely ladies is the dance instructress. So will the real Olga Gomez please stand up? Thank you very much. Number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do?
My name is Judith Gilman, and I'm a music student.
And number 2, what about you?
My name is Mercedes Zook, and I'm a housewife.
Kitty,
Well,
you see what good it does us women to know what denier means going up and down?
Well, he must have been wrong.
Well, I just want to caution Ralph not to give any nylons for Christmas. There were exactly 2 incorrect
I still
votes.
don't know which way they go.
$250 each for a total of $500 from Geritol. Thank you very much, ladies. Hope you had fun. We did. Good night. Good luck. Now, we'll introduce a new set of challengers right after this. Challengers, please.
What is your name, please?
My name is Thelma Krieger.
What is your name, please?
My name is Thelma Krieger.
What is your name, please?
My name is Thelma Krieger.
All right, panel, will you follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Thelma Krieger, am a housewife and the mother of 2 children. My hobby is deep-sea fishing with light tackle. My best fish to date is a 552-pound black marlin, which I boated after a 2-hour battle. Currently, I hold more international fishing records than any other woman in the world. Signed, Thelma Krieger. Now, panel, these 3 ladies all claim to be Thelma Krieger, world's champion fisherwoman. Remember again, as usual, that only the real Thelma Krieger is required to answer your questions truthfully, and we will begin this round with Kitty Carlisle. Kitty?
Number 1, what is the biggest fish ever recorded?
It's a black marlin.
How big was it?
I think over 1,500 pounds.
Number 2, is it unusual to fish for marlin with a light tackle?
No, not particularly.
Number 3, what do you use for bait?
Catalina flying fish.
Do you bait the hook yourself?
Yes.
Number 1, how do you get such a fish in a boat?
Well,
You have
maybe...
a big boat.
Maybe sometimes you don't. Maybe you drag it back.
No, but I mean, how does one get such a fish in the boat?
Well, with a few strong hands, usually it can be brought aboard.
Number 2, is it harpooned at the end?
It's gas.
It's gas. What's the gas?
Well, a gaff is a great big hook with a wooden handle. After the fish is brought to the boat. Gaff.
Hi, Gardner.
I'm glad you explained that. I thought gaff meant that the marlin was under the influence of alcohol.
No, that's laughing gas.
Number 2, who was Edmund Gilligan? Do you have any idea?
No, I haven't.
Have you, number 1?
No.
Have you, number 3?
No, I haven't.
Can you, number 1, name the 2 most important magazines for hunters and fishermen?
Well, I think Fisherman magazine is an excellent magazine.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, can you add any others?
Well, Sports Illustrated I like.
Number 3, any others?
No, there are several.
Number 2, who was the...
Polly Bergen.
He isn't any longer.
Number 1, could you tell me what fish is considered the toughest catch?
Well, lots of people think the black marlin is.
I see. Number 3, does the black marlin generally grow larger than the blue marlin?
No, I wouldn't say that it does.
Are they about equal?
Thicker.
I see. I thought maybe one fish might normally get a little bigger than the other one.
One is a little thicker through the shoulder.
I see. Number 2, could you tell me where are you most apt to find marlin in American waters?
South American and North American?
North American.
On the West Coast.
Where?
West Coast, bigger marlin.
The West Coast, well, it's long. I mean, any specific part of the West?
Southwest.
Southwest Coast, thank you.
Ralph Bellamy.
Number 1, have you ever fished off Panamanian waters, Colombian waters
Yes, they
for
have.
marlin? What's the most popular bait they use down there for marlin?
I think they use a mullet, a trolling bait.
Number 2, have you fished off those waters?
Yes.
What would you say is the most popular
Mullet.
bait?
Mullet.
Number 3, same question.
I use the Catalina flying fish, but also the mullet.
Uh-huh. What, you say you used light tackle. What did you use in this 552-pound marlin, number 1? What
30.
What size line?
30-pound test line.
30-pound test. Number 2, same question.
Yes, 9.
Number 3?
Yes, 9 thread.
Yeah.
Goes up to 30.
Let's see, use the mullet or...
Kitty Carlisle.
When you boat this fish, do you eat it?
Not immediately.
Number 1. Now, what I mean is this a sport or is this for eating?
Well, usually, if you're still referring to black marlin,
Yes.
we don't usually eat black marlin.
There's no edible parts at all.
The night wouldn't
It's
say
purely
so.
sport.
Yes.
I'm afraid that's it. Remind me not to ask you fishing, Kitty. You're too hungry. All right, it's time to vote. So without consultation, will you mark your ballots and select number 1, number 2, or number 3? How about it, Polly? All set?
Mhm.
Okay. Who's your selection this time?
I voted for number 2 again. I felt I'd stick with the number. Maybe it would work out during the show. And also, she said, when the fish comes to gaff, it's gaff. And I thought that sounded sort of like very sort of fisherman-y.
Fisherwoman.
Yeah, fisherwoman-y.
How about you, Ralph?
Number 1. Number 1 looks to me a little bit more like the outdoor fisherwoman type, and she seemed to have more information.
Kitty?
Number 1. I like number 1's looks as a fisherwoman, too, and I don't believe that business about the gaff. I thought a gaff was something that had 2 things and went together this way.
And hi, Gardner. How about your ballot?
I know about gaff.
Well, I voted for number 2, despite the fact I think it's number 1. I think she's a fisherwoman because she's even wearing a net dress. I like the gaff bit about number 2, so I voted for number 2.
Well, all right. There we are. Now we've got our votes and our reasons. First time I ever knew that fish had shoulders. I suppose those without shoulders are the best tackle. Now, we're going to find out which one of these ladies is the real world's champion fisherwoman. Will the real Thelma Krieger please stand up? Now, number two, would you tell us who you really are and what you do?
My name is Wahila Long, and I'm a publicist for Kenyon and Eckhart and work on the Ed Sullivan Show.
And number three, what about you?
My name is Dorothy Johansson. I'm a creative designer of leathers and metals.
And when we check up on the score, we find there were exactly 2 incorrect votes at $250 each for a total of $500 from Geritol. For you ladies, thank you very much for being with us. Good night and good luck. Now, may we have our next team of challengers, please?
What is your name, please?
My name is Melvin Purvis.
What is your name, please?
My name is Melvin Purvis.
What is your name, please?
My name is Melvin Purvis.
Once again, panel, may I direct your attentions to your copies of this affidavit. I, Melvin Purvis, am familiar with both crime waves and radio waves. I own and operate an independent radio station. But in the hectic crime wave of the 1930s, I was an agent for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I was involved in the apprehension of both Babyface Nelson and Pretty Boy Floyd. But I am perhaps best remembered as the special agent in charge the night the FBI eliminated public enemy number 1, John Dillinger. Signed, Melvin Purvis. Now, we're all set, so here we have 3 gentlemen, all claiming to be Melvin Purvis, former special agent for the FBI. Let's begin this questioning with Ralph Bellamy. Ralph?
Number 1, where did the term G-Man originate? With whom and under what circumstances?
It was a term originated from G for government, meaning government man, and it originated under the Mr. Burns, who preceded Mr. Hoover as head of the Bureau.
Number 2, will you answer that same question? What was the first time it was used and by whom?
Machine Gun Kelly originated the term G meaning government.
And under what circumstances?
I think he exclaimed once that, look out, boys, the G's are coming.
Number 3, who was the lady in red, I believe she was called, involved in the Dillinger arrest?
She went by the name of Anna Sage.
Anna Sage.
Kitty Carlisle.
Number 1, are you a lawyer?
No, ma'am.
Are you a lawyer, number 2?
Am.
Are you a lawyer, number 3?
There is an accountant.
What's that?
Accountant.
An accountant. Number 2, where is your radio station?
Florence, South Carolina.
Number 1, where was Pretty Boy Floyd apprehended?
Wellsville, Ohio.
What's that?
Wellsville, Ohio.
Ohio. And Babyface Nelson, number 3?
He was wounded in the suburbs of Chicago, found dead in the suburbs later.
Number 2, whatever became of the lady in red?
I understand she was deported to Romania, her native land.
And never since heard of?
Oh, yes, I think she died about 8 or 9 years ago.
Number 1, do you believe that the crime rate is going up since the 30s?
Yes.
Have you any reasons why?
I read the newspapers.
Hi, Gardner.
Number 2, how did Vincent Cole meet his death?
I only know about that by having read in the papers. I assume he was killed.
Number 1, would you know?
I just read the papers.
Number 3?
No, I'm not familiar with
Because
that.
it was during your time. Number 1, who was John Edgar Hoover's closest friend and top assistant?
Tolson.
What's his first name, do you know? how can you, or can you give me the name of a mobster now deceased who went under the name of, the nickname of Greasy Thumb?
Guzik.
Number 3, what, in your opinion, or do you recall the title of the movie that was playing in the theater when Dillinger was shot?
Manhattan Melodrama.
Manhattan. I think I saw that in the Late Late Show the other night. Number 2, how does Mr. Hoover sign his personal mail?
J. Edgar Hoover and J.E. on occasion.
Polly?
Number 1, could you tell me what was John Dillinger's girlfriend's name?
Polly Hamilton or Polly Keels.
I beg your pardon?
Polly Keels.
Polly? I didn't know, as you can see.
Her name was Keels, and sometimes she used the name of Hamilton, but her first name was Polly.
Oh, isn't that nice? Number 2, could you tell me, let's see now, when was the Prohibition law passed, lifted? Number 2. Lifted. When was it lifted? Yes.
1933.
1933?
Yes.
Number 3, when do you say the Prohibition law was lifted?
1933.
Number 1, same question?
1933.
That's it, panel. We end on the note of 1933 and the lifting of the Prohibition law. And it's time to vote. So will you mark your ballots and vote thereby for number 1, number 2, or number 3? All set, Polly? Sometimes known as Polly Hamilton. Who are you voting for, Polly?
Well, I'm wrong, but I vote for number 2.
Number 2?
I know I've said this before, but I really always mean it. It's very close for me between number 1 and number 2, and I felt they both had a tremendous amount of information, and I really just sort of took a guess and went for number 2.
Okay, he'll always cherish the thought that you went for him, I'm
Thank
sure.
you.
Ralph, your vote?
Number 2. I felt, too, that they all had a fund of information, but number 2 was the only one who had the accurate answer, as I know it, about the origination of the term G-man.
Kitty, your vote?
Number 2. Well, it's my impression that all G-men, FBI men, had to be lawyers. And number 2 was the only one who said he was a... Well, don't tell me accountants now. You should have told me sooner. So I voted for number 2 who said he was a lawyer.
Okay. Hi, Gardner. How about your ballot?
I voted for number 2 also. Number 1, I thought it was very fluid in this conversation and volunteered a lot of information which FBI men generally don't do. Number 2 was very quiet and gentle and carries a big rod. And furthermore, he knew Greasy Thumb's name was Gruzik.
All right, there we are. Whether you agree with us or not is not important. We've given you our votes and our reasons, and we'll find out right now which one of these gentlemen is the real former special agent of the FBI. Will the real Melvin Purvis please stand up? 100% for you, panel. After your scores last week, I didn't know what was going to happen to you this week, but you finally came through at the end. Number 1, would you tell us who you really are and what you do?
I am James Edwards. I'm the business manager of New York's famous town hall.
And number 3, what about you, sir?
I'm Sam Surratt. I've been in the transportation business in New York for the last 30 years.
Well, it was certainly nice to have you all here tonight. Hope you enjoyed your visit. And even though our panel scored 100%, there's still $150 from Geritol for you gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with us. Good night and good luck. We'll be back in just a few. Well, panel, after an evening of laughs and gaffs, there's just time left now to say good night. So good night.
Good night, Bud. Good night, Bud.
And this is Bud Collier saying good night from Geritol and reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson, Bill Codman production.